So hey guys, welcome to part 2, and just like the previous part, I'm going to ask you guys to please use headphones as I don't have the proper setup. So thank you guys, and let's start. We're going as per NCERT, okay? Now there are certain parts in NCERT, okay, that I cannot really draw them as well as it is given in NCERT. I will just write the page numbers and define them, that you have to study this, that you should know what is it and what you should know, and I will do all that. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. Environmental factors. Okay, now environmental factors come in two types. So let me just draw a diagram. No, sorry, not a diagram. Let me draw this type of chart. It will help you guys to remember. Okay, so first is abiotic and second is biotic. Okay, let me use the blue pen. So abiotic comes in three types. Yes, remember I had written there. I'll just give an examples. Now it can be divided into three types. You will see every one of them come together. So climatic, edaphic, and topographic. Okay, and biotic consists of producers, consumers, and decomposers. Okay, now what is present in climate? So climate consists of four factors, that is temperature, water, light, and humidity. Okay, now what is edaphic? Now edaphic constitutes everything that is related to soil. Edaphic is soil related. And what is topographic? Well, topography means is concerned with the latitude. The place is presented in the altitude, and the slope. Now slope is related mostly in the mountainous region. Suppose a slope, I'm saying suppose a slope is facing eastward, okay, and let's say a slope, let's say a, like, mountains do not generally be like this, but let's just assume, okay, that this is a mountain, and let's say this is the east. So sun rises from this side, okay, at noon it is here, and then gradually the sun reaches here, but then it becomes what, dim, means it is the time to set. So what we will see here, that the eastern slope gets so much more light than the western slope. Okay, that there are basically irregularities between this side and this side of the mountain. So this is the time that slope factor becomes relevant. But to be very honest, the part that is here relevant to you, the syllabus is, I'm marking them. Okay, so the climatic factors are the most important thing, part here, and the biotic. Okay, like these are not that important, like not as per NCERT at least. Okay, we are concerned only about NCERT. Okay, so let's start with temperature. Okay, number one, temperature. Let me just see if it is recording. Yes, it is. Okay, so temperature, okay, it is the most important factor. Okay, this is written in NCERT, important factor. And there is a fancy way of saying important factor, that is most ecologically relevant. more fancy way of saying that it is ecologically relevant. That is the most important factor. It is ecologically relevant, most ecologically relevant. Okay. So I'm sorry about it. It ranges from sub-zero, means the temperature in on Earth ranges from sub-zero to almost a temperature of greater than 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are the two extremes. And where is sub-zero found? Well, it is found in the polar ice caps, polar regions, and where is 50 degrees, more than 50 degrees, tropical desert. Okay, where is more than 50 degrees found? It is present in the tropical deserts. And also, well, there are two more points in two more places, that is deep sea hydrothermal vents, deep sea hydrothermal vents. You will see it, deep sea hydrothermal vents, and hot springs, thermal springs, or hot springs, whatever you call it. Now, I would like to state another thing is that in the next chapter of ecology, you will see that there's a line written that sun is the source of energy for almost all habitats present on Earth, except, what is the exception? This is the exception. Okay, this is given in NCERT. It may be a bit indirect, but yes, it is present. Deep sea hydrothermal vents, where temperature reaches 100 degrees Celsius, and the energy for the processes are not directly given by the sun. Okay, so then as so uh, as you go from pole to the equators, as you go from pole to the equator, temperature increases. Okay, and as you go from plains means from plains to mountainous, that is at higher elevation, mountains, then temperature decreases. Like, these are basic facts. Okay, guys, now this is an important NCERT line. So what it says, that temperature affects enzyme kinetics and basal metabolism, as well as activity and physiological activities of organisms. So this is basically what is needed. Okay, temperature affects enzyme kinetics and basal metabolism of organisms. Okay, now we are going as per NCERT. Now there are two terms that one needs to be informed about: eurythermal and stenothermal. Okay, eurythermal and stenothermal. So what is eurythermal and what are stenothermal organisms? Yes, let me write organisms as well. So what are eurythermal organisms and what are stenothermal organisms? So eurythermal organisms are organisms that can tolerate a wide range of temperature. Okay, and stenothermal organisms restricted to a narrow range of temperature. So eurythermal organisms can survive in a large means they can adapt to a wide range of temperatures, but stenothermals can adapt only to a short range of temperature. Yes, so that is it. And then if you want some examples, eurythermal example are mammals and birds. And okay, these examples are mammals and birds. An example of this, let me write an exception of mammals. Okay, polar bear is an exception to mammals that can survive only in polar ice cap in very cold environment, because when they come in hot environment, their means body blubber is so thick that they won't be able to tolerate that heat and they will die of overheating. Okay, so this is very important, and that's it. So polar bear is the example, is an exception to the means that mammals are UV halide, eurythermal. It is exception. Okay, now let's go with water. So number two, I guess. Yes, number two. Water. Guys, read your NCERT and you will see that whatever I am writing is present in NCERT. Okay. Now water is the most in fact most is the second most. Let me just rub this. Okay. Second most ecologically relevant, second most important factor after what? After temperature. Okay. And some facts with respect to evolution, that life originated in water. It is written in evolution chapter in NCERT. Okay, life originated in water, then slowly they came to land and is unsustainable. That is, life cannot be sustainable without the presence of water. Next, then quality of water is very important. That is, what I am trying to mean is salinity, that is measured in ppt, parts per thousand. Let's go over that. Okay, salt concentration, let me elaborate. Salt concentration, that is salinity, that is measured as parts per thousands. Just see to it. Okay, don't write ppm because that is more common. It is parts per thousand. It is written in NCERT that it is in part, it is measured in parts per thousand. Okay, so salinity, that is salt concentration, that is measured in parts per thousand, okay, is given below. So let me write the details that is given in NCERT. So inland waters have a salt concentration of less than 5 parts per thousand, whereas sea contains a salt concentration of 30 to 35 parts per thousand, and hypersaline lagoons contain salt concentration up to 100 parts per thousand. So this is the most salty area. Okay, now there are two types of organisms similarly as eurythermal and stenothermal. So there are again two types of organisms, euryhaline and stenohaline. Euryhaline and stenohaline. Okay, so similarly euryhaline can take means that can tolerate a wide range of salinity. Organisms that can tolerate a wide range of salinity. Okay, and stenohaline can tolerate, or rather let me put it this way, restricted to a narrow range of salinity. Restricted to a narrow range of salinity. Now, there's a line written in NCERT that I would like to write here, that many freshwater fishes cannot live for long in seawater and vice versa. Many freshwater fishes cannot survive in seawater for long, and the reason is not written. Okay, this line is written for long. Okay, this line is written, but the reason is not written. What is the reason? For osmotic problems. Okay guys, this is the reason, and vice versa, which means that seawater means saline water cannot also live in fresh water. So that's it. Now let's go to light, the third factor, that is what? Light. Now visible part of EM spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum, is PAR. PAR is what? Photosynthetically active radiation, right? Now let's see what is PAR. Photosynthetically active region of sunlight. Photosynthetically active region. So what does this word or term, fancy term, photosynthetically active region means? Well, photosynthetically active region means that this is the part in which plants photosynthesize, the wavelength of light in which plants photosynthesize. Okay, is the photosynthetically active region, and it consists of wavelength from 400 to 700 nanometers. Now, what is the visible spectrum of light? Sorry, visible spectrum of EM waves, electromagnetic spectrum of electromagnetic waves, or visible part of electromagnetic spectrum. I should have written visible part of electromagnetic spectrum is from wavelength. Many will not believe, but it is actually from 390 to 760. Okay, I know in NCERT it is written this, and this is what what you guys need to know. Okay, this is just an extra information, so you can really keep it in a bracket, but this is what you need to know. Okay, so now there can be plants. Light intensity is the major factor. Okay, so let's just go, let's write some more points. That is, there are two types of plants. Okay, plants can be classified on two types. Number one is heliophyte, and the number two is sciophytes. And number two is sciophytes. Now, what are heliophytes and what are sciophytes? Now, heliophytes are plants which need high light intensity. Means these are plants that need high light intensity. And what are sciophytes? Helio and scio. Okay, and I will tell you one fact about this and how you will remember this. And these are plants that need low light intensity. So you can remember this, that Helios is the Roman god of sun, is the Roman sun god. Okay, Helios is the Roman sun god. Helios is the Roman sun god. So that is from where the term heliophyte came. Okay, just remember Helios, that Helios is the sun god. So heliophytes will be those plants that need more light intensity. It is basic analogy. Okay. Now there is an important NCERT line that I am going to quote for you guys. So that is, yeah, blue is fine. So that I'm going to quote is, many animals use the diurnal and seasonal variations in light intensity and photoperiod. That is the duration of light. Okay, that is duration, as cues for timing their foraging. That is search of food, reproductive and microagri activities. Reproductive, wait a minute, and migratory activities. Okay, so let me just write this spelling again. This is cues. Okay, means when to do what. Like in the morning we wake up and then whatever. So that is how you do. Okay. Now response to abiotic factors. Now okay. So let me not forget soil. Okay, soil is important, but as per NCERT, almost nothing is given on soil. Okay. So what we can write is factors of soil. That is only what is given in NCERT, or only the names. Okay. So first, pH, mineral composition, means factors of soil that affect the type of plants or animals that will be present there. So mineral composition and topography. You guys can read the NCERT. You guys should read the NCERT. Topography and also soil composition and grain size of the soil particles, and aggregation. You guys remember those clay soil, sandy soil, and all those type of soil. Okay, soil composition, grain size, and aggregation. You guys should read NCERT 100%. You will see that I'm sorry, you will see that what I am saying is in line with what is written in the NCERT. Okay, so that is very important, and I'm starting with this chapter. So all right, you guys can, what to say, in a free time, whenever you're not liking to study, you can just see it once. Okay, and I think that will help you in the end. We don't understand that what is helping us and what is not until the time comes, because let me just tell it to you that no, it doesn't matter what you do throughout the year, whether you have studied throughout the year or studied at the end. What matters is the end result. Okay, now whatever you are doing in the whole year actually comes down to that last 3 hours of the exam. Okay, so whatever you are doing, it is all on those 3 hours that will decide what you will do. Okay, now next topic as per NCERT is response of living organisms to abiotic factors. Okay, or response to abiotic factors, to abiotic factors. Now let me tell you straight that I think that this graph in NCERT is given right, like what do you say, upside down, that it is just the reverse of what is given. Okay, but don't think much and just study whatever is given in NCERT. Okay, study what is given in NCERT, because that is what will be followed and not what is right or what is wrong. Because see, NCERT is the widely publicized book, right? So if there is a mistake, everyone should commit the same mistake, even if the question is directly from NCERT. Then if you commit, means if you do as what NCERT says, then your answer has to be right. Okay, so let's just mark it internal level. This is what external level. I will tell you which part of the graph I think is wrong. So let's start. Okay, let me just use 3 colors. That will be nice. This line is absolutely right. Then so is this. What I think is wrong, or what I feel is wrong, is the line that is related to the partial regulators one. Okay, I know, just hear me out once. See, this is a partial regulator, right? So as per definition, at first the partial regulator tries to regulate and not conform. Okay, so what I feel is that at first the line of partial regulator should be the straight line, since the straight line corresponds to regulators, right? So I will explain again that the red line stands for regulators. Okay, the blue line stands for conformers, that those organisms that change as per the external environment changes, and the last line is for partial conformers, sorry, partial regulators, I'm so sorry, partial regulators. So the thing with partial regulators is that partial regulators are supposed to regulate till it is possible for them to regulate, and then only conform to the environment. But if you see as per the graph, what is it showing? That first it is conforming and then it is regulating, and I think this is the part that I think is wrong. As per me, what should be the correct form of the graph? Then I would suggest that something like this. See, at first the organism is trying to conform. Okay, at first the organism is trying to conform, and when it cannot, it is sorry, at first the organism is trying to regulate. At first the organism is trying to regulate, that is, its internal environment is keeping stable, but when it cannot, it is conforming. So I feel that the graph should be this way, but now this is NCERT and this is what you should follow. Okay, you know it is wrong, but it doesn't matter. This is NCERT and this is right. In exam, if the question comes and they ask you to label that, what is the label this lines, then you have to write partial regulators. Okay, you cannot write none of these and all those, because it is given in NCERT and you should follow them. Okay, that is what I have to say. Let's see the time. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm just trying to keep these videos at 30-minute mark. Okay, so thank you.